Tennessee's mood tracker, where are they at right now? This is one of the easiest to do. Now, let me tell you two things that I'd love to be good at: surfing and golf. I've always been fascinated by both of them. But I don't surf and I really don't golf. Great at putt-putt, but really don't golf and don't surf. And the reason is very simple. It takes discipline. You never really master either one of them. You never beat surfing. You never beat golf. But it takes a long time to even be halfway decent at them. And I'm not willing to suck at them. So I have not taken up surfing, and I've really not taken up golfing. But Tennessee fans have taken up surfing in a way. And for a long time, they have tried to get up on the wave that they once upon a time were on. They knew how to surf, at least in the SEC. They knew how to be on the top wave of college football. And then they fell, and their board hit them in the head, and they were in the wilderness for a long, long time. And there were some brief, faint radio transmissions from out there in the ether, and you thought, is Tennessee back? No, Tennessee's not back. Never mind. No. There's a trash can on the sideline. Third down for what? So it was failure after failure after failure. Derek Dooley's wearing what color pants? And all of a sudden, they beat Alabama last year. And all of a sudden, the dam broke. And here comes the wave. And the mood around Tennessee right now is ride the wave as long as we possibly can. And they have earned it. That fan base has earned it. They deserve it. It took a long time to get up on that board. But you see, there have been other programs out there that were in the wilderness for a little while, and they'll all tell you, once you finally get back up there, that struggle, it just makes you appreciate the here and now. It makes you appreciate the success a little bit more. College-aged Tennessee fans or Tennessee current students, how should I explain this? They don't know their place in college football's history. They've been institutionalized, okay? They've been in this little self-made college football prison where you're hoping to get to the Gator Bowl and you fantasize about what it would be like to win 10 games. And that is not Tennessee, okay? That's been Tennessee in your lifetime. Tennessee is supposed to compete for a national championship. That's where they're supposed to be. That's the conversation they're supposed to be in. Now, you got institutionalized because you watch a bunch of very, very subpar excuses for Tennessee football be trotted out in front of you on Saturdays in the fall. And so you came to be convinced, and a lot of people tried to their part to convince you that Tennessee can't be that anymore. Remember that conversation? The game has just changed. Tennessee can't recruit well enough. I remember when we had Josh Heupel on the show last year, and he didn't let me get the sentence out of my mouth. And I wasn't even making it my argument. I started to make that whole Tennessee can't recruit well enough point. And he said, do you see my face? That's how disgusting that sounds to me. And he's right. A lot of that was just fodder. The fact is, their results had nothing to do with the system being stacked against them. Their results had nothing to do with the sport leaving them behind. They just made terrible hires. They just made poor decision making. And they suffered the consequences. Now they made a good hire, and they are also benefiting from the plus consequences of that. Now you got to ride the wave. You're experiencing what I call the Red Bull effect at Tennessee right now. It's the sugar high. It is what you get for a little while. There is a finite amount of that energy and that sugar high and that Red Bull effect before you've got to, put together something that is sustainable. That's what we can't know yet. We know Tennessee looked really good last year. What we can't know is how sustainable is this? Are we going to look back in 2026 and say, that one blip year, that made us feel like they were on their way, but then they fell off? Or are we going to be saying, look at Tennessee, man. They're here every year now. What started in 2021 and 2022 has become a consistent, perennial powerhouse program. I don't know which one it's going to be. Certainly you can have your guess, as can I, but defense has to be better. They were, 85th last year in total yards given up. They were 44th in points per game. I think probably a little bit overlooked has been the fact that they're recruiting better defensive personnel. They had the number 9 class in the country in recruiting in 2023. They landed a 5-star quarterback in 2023. First top 10 class since 2015. They had the most wins last year since 2001. They led FBS in points per game and yards per game offensively. So There is no more guessing what Tennessee football is. They are a contender. They are the fourth highest odds to win the national championship from the SEC this upcoming year. I think that probably surprises some people to see LSU listed ahead of them. It shouldn't. That has everything to do with the quarterback position. Now, speaking of the quarterback position, here's where my head would be if I was a Tennessee fan. I'd be looking at these mock drafts right now. Not that these are, from God's lip to your ears by any stretch, but look at the mock draft culture. Look at the mock draft society right now, trying to tell you that Hendon Hooker may be nothing more than a third or fourth or fifth round pick. If they're right, let's just entertain this for a second, because this is what I would feel if I was a Tennessee fan. If they're right, that means Josh Heupel just owned college football with a player that was not a first-round caliber product. What happens when he gets one would be my follow-up. We had guys like Jalen Hyatt, who wasn't even listed as your number one. Cedric Tillman was supposed to be the number one, and he's hurt. And Jalen Hyatt just destroys Alabama. And, the only thing that stopped him was the buzzer, because he would have just gone off all night if they allowed him to. My point is, there will be people who look at Hendon Hooker leaving and say, uh-oh. And there will be people who look at the Jalen Hyatts of the world leaving and say, uh-oh. My question or my follow-up would be, were you touting them last year? Hendon Hooker, maybe so. Were you guys nationally touting Jalen Hyatt? Are you touting Squirrel White now? Because you will be talking about him a lot come fall. This offense is going to make star offensive players every year. And so, whether it's Joe Milton this year, and you saw what he did against Clemson in the bowl game, looked like a totally different Joe Milton, whether it's him, whether it's Nico Iamaleava, starting as a true freshman, offense is not going to be the reason they're losing games. I know, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I know that. So I can at least take comfort in that.